I didn't even want to start the second season because I was like, it'll get over. And I
Yeah.
was like, and what will I do with my life? Don't be afraid to find your own voice and try. And I refuse to answer this question because I think it's really unfair.
Welcome to Binge Buddies. Thank you so much for taking out time. We are absolutely thrilled to have to be speaking with you today.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know if you remember we bumping into you last year around same time in Camden Market.
Yes, very next to that place that was serving curries and soup. My wife remembered. Yes.
Yes, you got me right. Exactly. We did enjoy that as well.
Thank you. I had no idea when we met that this is what you all do.
We are just 3 months old YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. Okay.
Thank you so much. So, to begin with, many congratulations, AKvarious completing 20 years. It is an amazing feat to achieve.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we were actually, it was supposed to be a very big year for us. And in the beginning of the year, we were planning this big celebration.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we weren't even sure if we'd be able to do anything live
Yeah.
because of what happened. And then fortunately, Prithvi Theatre has opened up its doors again as of 10 days ago.
Yeah.
So while we can't have a festival of the scale that we wanted to have, the fact that we can actually perform is celebration enough, I think. So.
Exactly. I was gonna ask that have the celebration already started at Prithvi and are there already plans? But yeah, that answers my
Yeah,
question.
no, I mean, it is going to be much limited capacity. It's only 100 people. It's 50% of the house and stuff. And there's going to be, of course, precautions as well as some, anxiety and fear. But at the end of the day, I think that everyone's just really happy that we can be back on stage again.
Exactly. I can imagine because that is something you love so much, and seeing that shut for so many months, I know it would have been heartbreaking completely. So you've done successfully a lot of things with respect to the cinema, which is screenplay writing, direction, casting for a couple of projects, acting as well. Which of these aspects do you personally enjoy the most?
I'm happiest directing, quite honestly. I have done some acting, but I've always maintained, and it's almost getting boring now for people, that I'm a very reluctant actor. I don't enjoy acting too much. It involves a lot of waiting,
Yeah.
which I keep thinking that while I'm waiting around for my shot, I mean, I could have put that time to better use.
Yeah.
Uh, it's silly because it's the best money. If I
Yeah.
acted more, I'd be richer. But no, I enjoy the directing process. I actually like working with actors very much.
Yeah.
So that I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Your father, Mr. Akash Khurana, is a very well-known actor. Now, how much of influence did cinema have while you were growing up?
In a sense, it's a very strange situation. Like when dad used to be shooting, and as a kid, if I ever went to like a shoot, I used to be really bored. I used to think that it's the worst place, and I didn't understand why people go
Yeah.
because they're doing the same thing again and again, and it's taking forever. And why don't they just get on with it?
Yeah.
And I still maintain that when you're at somebody else's shoot as a spectator,
Yeah.
it is an extremely boring process. I mean, like it's like watching paint dry, quite honestly,
Oh.
because it takes so long. But when you're in it and you're directing yourself, of course, you don't have a moment. You don't have any breathing space. But in that sense, because he was doing theater, he was acting, he was writing. Um, I was never very fascinated by his acting process in the sense I knew he does that,
Uh-huh.
and I was happy to see him in his roles, and I would like his performance and stuff like that. I was more fascinated perhaps by his theater life and his writing life. So I also actually started my journey in the film industry as a writer,
Okay.
and that's what inspired me really. I mean, like he would be working on films like Ashiki and Bazigar, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I would find that process very fascinating, the storytelling process.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would say that there was exposure.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of exposure, certainly. So I was not, say, inhibited at all with regards to either theater or the film industry, because I mean, it was a part of our lives in that sense. But we led very, like, dissociated lives. We were doing our own thing. It was never really like there was that kind of influence. The influence that did happen, I think, is that my father, because he was an avid movie watcher, and I remember this one incident where at that time when it was only Doordarshan,
Uh-huh.
which was our national channel.
Yeah.
There was a point, I think, after Mr. Raj Kapoor passed away, there was this Raj Kapoor retrospective
Uh-huh.
where every night at 10 o'clock they would start showing his films in chronological order, from right from his first film up to his last film.
Okay.
And those were school nights, and I remember that dad actually said, you should watch all these movies. And my mother said, but he's going to be up till 1 o'clock every night and he has to go to school.
Yeah.
And he said, where is he going to get an opportunity to see the entire gamut of Raj Kapoor's work readily available for him? And he
Yeah.
should do it. So I think, little things like that just kind of make your interests get aligned. So yeah.
Right, right, right. So, do you happen to have your first ever memory of seeing a movie and if that had impact on you?
I think one of the first films that I saw, if I'm not mistaken, was the original animated Jungle Book.
Ah,
And I remember we used to have a VHS of that.
yeah.
And I think I used to come back from school and watch it every day till the tape got completely gisoed. But yeah, so I remember that being something that I remember watching. And I remember E.T. was quite a big impact in my life. I know that because of E.T., I was obsessed with Spielberg for a very long time. So I remember these being early kind of influences.
Nice, amazing. And so you mentioned you started your journey in the industry as a writer. So how did you get into direction aspect of it?
Well, so the thing is, I was always directing theater. I had been directing plays from school, and then I continued doing that in college. I started my writing career on Krrish
Uh,
in 2003.
yeah.
I had dabbled a little bit in writing on a film called Sarhad Par that my father was working on, and then Krrish happened. And what happened is that. Um, when I finished writing Krish, I was actually going to jump onto another project to write, but Mr. Roshan, Rakesh Roshan, said that you've spent 2 years on working on this script. Why don't you come and assist me? The script backwards. It'll be great for you because clearly this is something that you want to do. So Krish then kind of became film school for me because I was there from the first word on the page till the final print was delivered, and I was an assistant on the film. So that took up 3 years of my life, but that was really film school. And that's the only film I ever assisted on, actually. After assisting on Krish, I actually went back to writing, and I was directing like small like sketches and stuff, nothing very major. Till Anurag Basu, who I actually wrote Kites with. Anurag Basu was asked to produce a television film for MTV, and he contacted me and said that it's a 75-minute film, and I think that this is something that he called it net practice. So he said that ye kar le, haath saaf kar le, why don't you do this? And that was the first like long form content that I directed for a television film. It's called
Amazing.
Real FM. So
Nice. You are one of the few directors who worked with Irfan Khan, and you've directed him in the movie Karwaan. How can you share with us how was that experience working with legendary Irfan Khan? What makes him the Irfan Khan?
well, I mean that's a tough question. He was, I mean, like you can't really say enough about him, and now more so. To be quite honest, when we were quite shocked when he said yes to our film. We had just taken a chance, and I remember we went, me and the dialogue writer Hussein Dalal, we went to a hotel room in Delhi, and we narrated the script to him,
Yeah.
and he was enjoying the script, and he actually said he was doing it right after the narration,
Wow.
and we were both stunned, and I think we did a little happy dance outside the room, because that happened, and then we spent some time in prep, definitely, because between his other shoots he would. And I think what was really interesting is that all the time that we were spending in prep, it didn't really feel like work. It was just conversations.
Wow.
It was conversations about cinema or politics, or sometimes a little bit about the script or about why I had written this film
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And it was just a little bit of that. And I think that became kind of like his homework and his prep, because when he showed up on set,
Mhm.
we didn't have any time for him to rehearse with the other actors.
Okay.
Dulquer and Mithila had
Yeah.
met and done a reading, but
Yeah.
Irfan had not. But when he came on set, he actually came knowing the character better than we did. I think his homework had been done in those little conversations. And I think the first few days that we was on set, we were all very intimidated because he was Irfan sir after all, and he was a legend, and he was a senior actor on set. And I think that what happened is that the first three days, like we were all just very very careful. And then we realized that that's not what he wanted. Actually, he was actually very happy to be engaging with everybody. He didn't want those kind of barriers. He wanted to be friends with everyone on set. He wanted to play cricket between shots with the crew, and just a genuinely warm person who could hold a conversation about anything. And I think that was the best part about him. There are a lot of people that you meet who have limited conversation skills, but you could pick a topic and he could talk about it for 3 hours. He could talk about French cinema, or politics, or the climate change, or whatever. I mean, you name it, and he would be well versed with it, and you would have the most intelligent discussions with him about it. And I think what happened is that it was a fairly young crew that we were working with, and he actually built a really good equation with everybody. I think he became friends with everybody, and irrespective of what their job was. And yeah, he was just a happy person on set. I think he loved the outdoors, is what his team had told me. He would show up in costume from his hotel, and he would, he didn't take too many takes ever. In fact, we had to take takes because we would land up laughing and spoiling the shot. But yeah.
Wow. I happened to see making of Karwaan, and it was so beautiful. And there are, as you mentioned, couple of, I think, two scenes where he's shown playing cricket in on the sets behind the scenes, and all of that banter and nice chit chat, laugh happening around. It is just absolutely amazing to watch that. And for Dulquer, Salman, it was definitely first Hindi film.
Dulquer, of course, is a big Malayalam star. But yes, it was his first Hindi film. But it was just, I think, and there were three so different people with, like different age groups and different backgrounds. And that was the purpose of, the film, that there were three very different people that were kind of clashing. But they got along very well with the entire set. I think it was just a really nice vibe. I think that that experience really spoiled a lot of us, because it's almost like nothing ever matches up to that. And yeah, and it felt like a really long picnic.
Wow. And that's in a nutshell the best ever expected project then, if you enjoy it thoroughly.
Yes, absolutely. But then it can spoil you for life. So
That's the con of it then. Okay, thank you for that. Your most recent work, which has been come out on screen, is Mismatched on Netflix.
Yeah, binge buddies, yeah.
And we actually did start it ki, oh yeah, chalo dekhte ek episode kaisa, it looks interesting. Before even we realized it's 6 p.m. and we finished it off, and we're like, wow. It didn't even feel like, the story went absolutely smooth. And I've been saying this over and over again. It did not feel like there was a pause. Oh, this could have been done better. Nothing. Every character was given so much importance. A lot of backstory yet to be explored, and a lot of aspects still there. We are excited to see. With your experience with respect to working along with Nipun Dharmadhikari, as he was also the co-director on the show, how do you prefer it? Is it a helping hand? Do you prefer, wow, the two brains working together with the same vision? What was your take?
So the thing is, Nipun is an old friend. Nipun and I have done theater together. Nipun actually cast me in a Marathi film that he was doing called Bab Janma, and then I cast him in Karwaan. He plays a small part in Karwaan, and then I have cast him in a couple of plays. So we have done a fair amount of work together. We have a very, very good relationship. The reason to bring Nipun on for the Netflix show was a practical reason. Netflix at that point of time wanted two directors so that it would get finished in a quicker amount of time. So if there were two directors shooting simultaneously, so Nipun and I didn't actually direct together ever. We were directing two different units. So he was directing completely different scenes, and I was directing completely different scenes. And then we both kind of sat at the edit and put it all together. So it wasn't like we were on set together. I mean, that sometimes we would be in the same location, but we would meet like at lunchtime. And just chat about how things are going, or stuff like that. But it was a very independent setup that was happening. That it still felt like there were portions that we were working on, and I think that it was important that the sensibilities are somewhat we couldn't be mismatched there.
Yeah.
We had to. So yeah, it was I think a very healthy relationship that we share in life, and that kind of worked out well for us.
Nice, very well put. Actually, that was definitely not a mismatch from within you and Nipun, because while watching it now, when you mention, it is more amazing to know that you've been directing two different units altogether, and when we see the end product.
You can't, yeah, because the
Yeah.
thing is, yeah, like and in the first episode itself, like you would be watching one scene, and the next scene would be directed by me, and the next scene then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just seamlessly.
Exact. The integration of then both of your works while editing has been done absolutely smooth, because we could not figure out whom exactly who has done which part and etc. That's the beauty of it. Amazing. Moving on to your acting aspect, now your acting project. You acted in the famous TVF series Ye Meri Family. You played the role of a father, and it's a 90s, very nostalgic show, beautifully done. Now, yeah, you mentioned how acting is a boring process, kind of, but when you are in front of camera, is that director's brain still working? How can I do this particular scene in a better manner?
Not at all. That's a very conscious effort to not let that part of your brain function at all. And
Okay.
I think that comes from being a director yourself. When you are a director yourself and you're working with actors,
Yeah.
you have a certain vision
Yep.
and you want people to kind of, help you put that vision together.
Yeah.
And you don't want like a conflicting kind of,
Thoughts.
chain of thought or,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And the thing
Yeah.
is that it's a very conscious effort on my part that when you are there as an actor, then you are there purely as an actor. And like if something that you're seeing is also not going according to the way that say you would have done it, that's absolutely nothing to comment about because that's really different people visualize stuff differently. And at that point of time, you are basically like a tool for the director to use.
Got it.
And that's what you should be, I think. So whether it was with Sameer Saxena in Ye Meri Family or with Nipun Dharmadikari when I was doing his film,
Yeah.
or anything else that I
Yeah.
might have done in terms of the acting. It's very much on set as an actor. In fact, maybe in fact maybe you kind of overcompensate, like you just
Yeah.
you make sure that like there's no suggestion, like
Yeah.
unless you're particularly asked for it, but otherwise you try and make sure that you don't
What's the right word in Hindi? It's like continuous kashmakash within your mind going on.
no,
Should I?
but for me it's very easy to not do that. So
Nice, good to know. I mean, that's in a way submitting completely to the director and just going by the
and I suppose that's because you would expect the same, right, when you're doing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Perfect.
How did this partnership with TVF happen for you?
I would say that was because of Sumeet Vyas.
Uh-huh.
Sumeet Vyas is a friend of mine from my theater days,
Got it.
and he basically was working with TVF because he had done, of course, permanent roommates.
Yeah.
He had a very good equation with them,
Yeah.
and coincidentally, Sumeet very long ago had read a draft of what eventually became Karwaan.
Okay.
Earlier. It was a very early draft of it. It was a completely different film at that point of
Uh-huh.
time, but he had read a version of that.
Okay.
And he got in touch with me saying that, I am beginning to create a show for TVF, which is about, these three siblings
Uh-huh.
that are on a road trip. Would you write it with me? Because I would love for you to write it with me. And this was eventually became Tripling.
Nice.
So Tripling season one, and so I spent time with the entire TVF gang, and thanks to Sumeet, I kind of got to know them. And Tripling season two also was supposed to be on the cards, and I got to know Sameer Saxena. Then he approached me for Ye Meri Family.
Okay, nice. My next question was about the famous TVF tripling. Like we all have been the fan of Baba, Amol, Manvi. What it's a beautiful story. You've co-written both the seasons along with Sumit Vyas. Was there any inspiration from real life? Like, how did you come up with such a beautiful story and then crafted it so beautifully that audiences were left in awe of it? Like, wow, it was absolutely amazing to see. How did that happen?
So the thing is, Sumeet and I both have younger siblings.
Ah.
Sumeet has a younger sister,
Mhm.
and I have a younger brother.
Yep.
I think a lot of it was inspired from, their
Okay.
shenanigans,
Yeah.
to be quite honest. Of course, the story is nothing like, our
Yeah.
stories, but it's just that characteristics and the generation gap. I mean, that I think really it helped because we had kind of lived that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It very rarely happens that when season one does so well, the season two matches up to the same level or does even better. And bringing in Gajraj Rao for season two in that character was a master stroke, I must say.
That we got really lucky with Gajraj and Shweta for that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is always there is a lot of pressure always when you're doing a second season,
Yeah.
because it's so hard to live up to it, and that's why I think that the second season of Tripling also took a little time. Like it didn't
Yeah.
come out immediately; it took some time.
Yeah.
But there was such a demand for it, and we knew that we had to do it, and we decided that we should kind of try and push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
So whether it was the whole episode with Gajraj's character,
Yeah.
or it was the episode with Rajit Kapoor's character.
Yeah.
It was us trying to kind of experiment and do new things because we knew that we now had three characters that people love.
Right.
So yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. Is season three on cards already? Do we expect that?
Not that I know of yet, but I also think that like the actors have all gotten very busy.
For
They've
sure.
got multiple comments. So Sumeet and Amol and Manvi, they're all so busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly off the topic, what is the best advice you have been given or you would like to give for the new and the future artists?
Well, the thing is, and this is something that perhaps I learned the hard way,
Mhm.
that when I started writing, I was writing commissioned projects, and I was basically a writer for hire, and I was helping to bring somebody else's vision to life.
Yeah.
And then the entire OTT kind of space happened.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you asked me this question after tripling,
Yeah.
because I think that I was writing films that I was enjoying writing, but they were not necessarily my vision or my voice.
Right.
But from the time that tripling happened,
Yeah.
I think that I got the freedom to find my voice.
Right.
And my advice would be is that right now there is an audience for everything.
Yes.
So you don't need to cater to an audience, you need to cater to your voice, and the audience will come. So I think it is important to kind of do what you believe in and do what you know, because there is an audience for everything, and you will find an audience that will kind of make that click for you. So whether it is tripling or it is Karwaan,
Yeah.
or it is even hijack that was made before that,
Yeah.
these are things that have come from within, and there are things that I believe in. And I kind of and I come from theater, and I've done that in 20 years, where I think the first 7 or 8 years or 10 years we were just trying to figure out who we were.
Yeah.
And then from 2010 onwards we kind of realized that this is the kind of content that we do best, and this is the kind of content that we'd like to be known for.
Yeah.
And we cultivated an audience,
Yeah.
and it became a very AKvarious type of play. So I think that you got to find, like, it's so bizarre because those are the little things that matter, that someone kind of watches Mismatched and then, finds something in Mismatched which reminds them of your earlier work.
Right.
And there's like, this feels like a very Akarsh moment.
Yeah.
And that's unique, right, to you.
Absolutely.
So you got to kind of find your own voice and your style, I think, because, that's what will matter in the long run, in terms of either that you got a platform to tell your own stories, or people remembered this about you.
Yeah.
So I think that no, don't be afraid to find your own voice and try and create on the basis of that.
This is a golden one, definitely. It is applicable to everyone who's trying to do something new out there.
Yes,
And thank
absolutely.
you so much for that.
And as you mentioned, OTT literally exploding and giving opportunities to everyone. Writer, screenplay writer, art director, these are all unknown names just working over years and years. And thankfully, with OTT, these names are now much more relevant. People now remember, oh, who wrote this series, who wrote that film, etc. Which really is a good progress as an industry in general.
Which is really
Oh,
good to see.
absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So let's have a very quick 7 seconds game with Akash. I'll ask a couple of things. You just need to name whatever comes to your mind. Your top three projects you worked so far, your own projects.
Hijack, Karwaan, everything I've done in theater.
Amazing. Your top three all-time favorite movies.
Oh, very difficult. Very. This is. I also. I refuse to answer this question because I think it's really unfair. Because
Uh,
I don't think that you can
okay.
do that.
Let's.
I mean, I'd say my three directors whose work I love
All right. Yeah.
is I'd say Baz Luhrmann, Alexander Payne, Park Chan Wook. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. And of course, now with OTT exploding, a lot of work is happening. And in general, I'm not sure if you haven't happened to see much more of TV series or web series content. Are there any top three which you've seen which you really enjoyed?
So, I mean, I've been watching stuff for a very long time. I think that internationally, if you were to talk about my favorite shows, it would be I loved Mad Men. I was a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of anything that Ricky Gervais does.
Yeah.
All his shows. I don't think that you can pick any one of them.
Mhm.
Um, and I love a lot of the British comedy. I'm a very big fan of this old show called Black Books.
Ah.
That's a British show, and yeah, I love that. So yeah, lately a lot of other stuff like Broadchurch and stuff like that. In the Indian content, I think I completely was fascinated by Pataal Lok.
Oh
I
wow.
think
Yeah.
that Pataal Lok is a fantastic
It
show,
is phenomenal.
and I think it raised the bar for everybody.
Right.
And yeah, I think and lately we've been watching Scam 1992, which is a lot of
Oh,
fun. So
I was about to mention. Did you happen
yeah,
to
it's a lot of
get
fun.
a
I mean,
chance
we've
of?
seen about 4 or 5 episodes. It's a lot of fun. I think it's very well
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. Hansal Mehta has done like one
Yeah,
hell of a
excellent. Yeah,
job. It is
wonders. Yeah.
beautiful.
Just to quickly add on to that, did you happen to see Fleabag by any chance?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre because my wife saw it and she loved it and she kept recommending it to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance. And I actually watched Fleabag while I was shooting Mismatched, while I was in Jodhpur.
Yeah.
And I think that the second season of Fleabag might include some of the best writing that I have ever seen. Uh, Also, around the same time, I saw Succession, which I am a massive fan of.
Oh my my. Oh
I
my
think that
my.
hasn't been a show like that. So
I
yeah,
swear the kind of
yeah.
writing, it's so real hard hitting. It's like
It's just I didn't even want to start the second season because I was like it'll get over, and I
yeah.
was like, and what will I do with my life, after that?
Three things you can't live without.
Books.
Ah.
I'm a very avid reader, so books. Pizza and my glasses.
Very well. And three things you tried new during the whole lockdown.
I actually was very busy during the lockdown. I was doing the post production of Mismatched.
Nice.
Uh, I I went through. I learned the entire process of actually doing post production online.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah.
was something I had never done before.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was doing editing and sound and music online. That was a new experience.
Nice.
Then I got COVID, so I also had an experience of doing nothing.
My goodness.
That was a very new experience because I was actually spending the days doing nothing, just lying on my back for the most day because of the fatigue.
Yeah.
So there was that. And I started an Instagram channel, which is something I had never done. I was doing Instagram lives.
Wow.
That was something new. That was something I only did in the lockdown. I had never done it before that. So there was an
Wow.
AKvarious Live, which was a theater channel,
Uh-huh.
and we were curating performances online, and I was also performing live on Instagram. That was something new. I had never done that before.
Three things you would like other people to know about you.
If you work with me, you'll be very well fed.
All right.
if I have a choice between choosing between a terrific actor who's not a nice person and an average actor who's a nice person, I'll go with the nice person. Uh, I have a very good sense of music,
Hmm. That's a
though
something.
though I think that people now who are very big fans of the soundtracks of Karwaan and Hijack and Mismatched, which have all gotten quite popular. But I have a pretty good sense of rhythm, and I'm a rhythmic dancer. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's new information. That's amazing. And one more thing, it just popped up in my head. So you worked with multiple stars, actors, actresses across theater, movies, and series. Which three actors you would like to work with in near future?
Wow, every actor I haven't worked with, yeah, I'd love to work with them. Repeating actors would have been easier to answer because I've been very fortunate in the sense that I've got to work with great actors,
Uh-huh.
and I've really enjoyed working with the people that I've worked with. Like, for example, would not have envisioned myself at any point of time having a chance to work with someone like, say, a Vidya Malwati.
Yeah.
But I got a chance to work with her in Mismatch. It was a fantastic experience working with her. All the kids in Mismatch are amazing. Mithila, I love deeply. Dulquer was such a blessing in disguise. Now, all the more, I was blessed to be working with someone like Irfan.
Yeah.
I've actually, I think, because of my theater career and because of all the opportunities I've had, I've actually worked with most people
Uh-huh.
that I have wanted to,
Yeah.
and I actually look forward to working with new people all the time.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
It's an image in my head since I saw Pataal Lok. I'm like Akarsh Khurana teaming up with Jaideep Alawat, and that combo would might just bring a nice blast. It would be amazing.
Maybe.
I reached out to him at Instagram and I
Uh-huh.
said that, look, I have to find a way to work with you. And he was very sweet about it. But yeah, I would love to work with that
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to share this with him so that he sees that I'm publicly saying it as well. So, yeah.
It would be amazing. Thank you. Firstly, that's the game part.
Thank you, sir.
Um,
The live project you're working on is Rashmi Rocket, an amazing film coming up with Tapsee, Pannu, and Priyanshu, whom I think he started working with you, under you, let's say.
is
I think he had done a little bit of work before that. I think my brother saw him in something and cast him in a play.
ah,
Uh, in fact, it's a play that's still running right now. It's called Internal Affairs. But yeah, Priyanshu is through that, and yes, he's done a lot of theater with me, and now he's in Rashmi Rocket. Yeah.
Amazing. What can you tell us about Rashmi Rocket as a project? What can we expect to see?
Oh well, it is the story. It has Tapsi in it, of course, and
yeah.
Tapsi is playing this girl who's a naturally gifted runner,
Yeah.
and someone who kind of is convinced to pursue it professionally.
Yeah.
But the pros and cons of doing that once she kind of gets there and starts achieving, and it's a film kind of about the struggles of a female athlete,
Got it.
a successful female athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and the what all has to be overcome
Mm-hmm.
to kind of make your place in the sporting arena, and it's got sports and it's got a lot of drama and it's got
Yeah.
like a thrillerish element as well, and I think it's a complete kind of package,
Nice.
and I think it's we're lucky that we have Tapsi frontlining it, who's also now got her own brand of cinema.
Yeah.
So it's hopefully an entertaining but important film. So I think
Absolutely.
that's going to be something that I think will be its USP.
Thank you so much, Akash, once again for taking out the time. We wish you all the very best for Rashmi Rocket and all the other projects.
Thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.